Good Friday afternoon, evening. Wait, where's Victor going?
I need to turn off the air conditioner, otherwise you won't hear me.
Are
There
you
we
cold
go.
enough?
I'm now I'm going to start sweating. Yes.
Turn your AC back on. It's not that big of a deal. Just stay on your microphone.
It's fine. It's fine. It's not really AC. It's that what's Dyson thing that is.
Oh,
just
the
waste of
air
money.
thing?
Waste of money.
Waste of money.
Yeah.
Is that what we need to talk about today? Is a waste of money?
We can talk about waste of money. Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I'm very good at it.
And wasting money?
Oh, very successful. Yes.
Hi, by the way, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we are the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox. And on Fridays, we do this live show, except in 2 weeks. We'll talk about that later. I think it's 2 weeks. I've lost track now. And we talk about the things of the week and whatever else we want to talk about. So this is also where we get our drink.
I'm driving after this, so I cannot go to use it.
Yeah. So let's get into the list here. Incan, good to see you.
I finally met the person in person.
Incan?
Yeah.
Okay. At where? Berlin?
At Berlin, yes.
Oh, okay. Let's see. I'm guessing Yvonne. Is that close enough? Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Probably. You kind of declared me as person who knows names, to pronounce names from many parts of the planet, right?
Yes. If I can't figure it out, then you have to be able to do it yourself. Sebastian, good to see you. Miroslav and Yvonne, thank you. And I'll try to keep it. It's like Ivan, but Yvonne. So we'll see how many more I mess up today. So today, guess what I'm
Are you
doing?
making like that theatrical pause you're building for the excitement or something?
No, I just had a brain fart.
Okay.
I didn't know what I was going to say next. Guess what I'm doing today? Maybe tomorrow. Take a guess.
Not buying a MacBook.
Wrong. Well, actually, you're
Hey,
right.
man,
You're right. I'm not buying a MacBook. The problem was I walked into the studio today, and I was fully intentioned on buying a Mac Studio, baseline $2,000 Mac Studio.
Okay.
Was
What changed your mind?
well for $2,000, and I still probably get that. The question is, will it be this
$2,000
weekend?
You can get 200 Raspberry Pis, man.
I could, but I have to have 200 power outlets for that. But a little less strategic in that is I could, for the same money, buy 3 Mac Minis refurbed. They're the 8 gigs. There's the, I have use cases for even just the Mac Minis.
But are 3 Mac Minis working better than 1 Mac Studio?
Not for the primary use case that I need it for. So the question is, do I order a Mac Mini this weekend? Just one, because I could use it pretty quickly. Whereas the Mac Studio, I could test out the Mac Mini, and if I quickly see that, okay, this is crap, then I can go ahead and order the Mac Studio. So I'm thinking about easing into it, right? Spend $600, have it here. Plus the other thing, I can get the Mac Mini delivered here by Tuesday, or probably Wednesday with the holidays on Monday.
You know how
Here in the
at the
States.
very beginning of today's session I said that I'm very good at wasting money?
I think I'm better.
That's how I'm wasting money.
Is you buy
kind of-
low end and throw it
You
away?
remember how I bought all the webcams that I could
Yeah.
so that I don't buy a real camera, and then I ended up buying real camera and throwing webcams in a drawer?
Yeah.
That sounds very similar to what you're planning.
No, but I could easily repurpose a Mac Mini for other things anyway. So I don't feel like that is a waste, right? Because, again, remember, my primary machine is still a 2011 MacBook Air. So just having even a base 8 gig, 7 core, or 8 core Mac Air, or Mac Mini is going to be fine.
All I'm saying is that will postpone Studio arrival.
It would.
Likely.
Well, no, but okay, so let me get back to that. So I can have the Mac Mini here on Tuesday, and I could start using it on Tuesday. The best that Mac Studio can be here right now is 4 weeks.
Okay, that's better
So-
than 2 months that it would take if you buy Mac Mini. Much better.
Right. So if I can get a refurb Mac Mini, test it out, see if I can do what I'm planning on doing with Mac Studio anyway, then that could buy me, at least I have something to work with, right, as a filler.
Wait for 4 weeks.
Incan has it. Famous last words. Well, no, I have the cash to do both. I have about $2,700 just that I can spend.
Yeah, but
So
when
I
you
actually
buy
need to
Mac
make it about
Studio, you will realize that kind of like it does everything you need to do, and you will save money that you would spend on Mac Mini.
I know, but I still need a machine for it here in the studio. Mac Studio goes into my office,
Okay.
but I still need something here.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
the question was, what was the second machine going to be? And I've always been leaning towards a Mac Mini. I don't know why we're talking about Mac so much today. Just because I'm actually going to do it. So the question will be, next Friday, you're going to have to ask, did I actually order it or not?
Yes, you will bail out. I know you.
I'm feeling pretty good about the Mac Mini because at $600, I can deal with $600, right? It's still painful to part with $600, but it's easier to part with $600 versus $2,000, knowing that $600 is still good. Okay.
Yep.
Sebastian, yes. I showed the award last Friday. I think I already put it in the office. So, nope. And Roman, stormy Vienna. We're supposed to actually have rain today, finally, after a few weeks. Karen, good to see you. Maz, haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. Wow, we have everybody here today. This is great. I've already wasted too much of everybody's time. You ready to talk about how you go to conferences?
By not going to talks, yeah. Corridors are a nice place to be.
Why do you say that?
I don't know. It depends really on the conference. It depends on how many people I know there and stuff like that. Like, last week I was in KCD. I went to more talks on KCD than KubeCon. I think that it was in open space mostly, so no corridors. I had to go to talks.
Did you say KCD?
Kubernetes Community Days.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what that meant. Now I understand, because that was Berlin.
That was Berlin again, yes.
Okay. And you're not going to Berlin next week?
Not next week. I'm going there in September, I think, October, something like that.
But that's an easy trip for you. So, except for having, are you able to do that direct? We're talking about
direct,
things today.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, direct. Now, I'm so disliking now indirect the connected flights that I would rather go there a day early with the
And
direct
just go direct.
flight.
Yep.
Yeah.
And spend the hotel money, right?
Yep.
No. I will only fly direct. Excuse me. I will only fly connections if there are no other options.
Exactly. I mean, either no other options or kind of is some rare occasions, kind of like it's direct flight is 10K and then the 2 flights are kind of like 1,000 or something like
Yeah.
that.
Some
ridiculous combinations sometimes.
Yeah. But if it's only $500 extra to go direct, especially if it's a long layover, it depends. Like, okay, we're going to talk about flights here. So I used to fly. I live on the East Coast of the States, and I'd have to go out to the West Coast. And I don't mind going, leaving at night. It's miserable, but then I get in basically at 2 or 3 a.m. My body is telling me it's 2 or 3 a.m. But flying back, I don't like red eyes. But I used to fly red eyes, and that's where I would take a connection. Because I'd go from San Francisco, San Jose, into Dallas, Fort Worth, which is about half the trip. And that gives me time to basically, because that gets in at 5:30 in the morning, leave at midnight from anywhere, midnight, 1 o'clock, get there at 5 to 6 in the morning, eat some breakfast, stretch my legs, and then I'm still home by noon. Right? Now, if I'd go direct, I would have landed at 7 a.m. But that's just a miserable stretch. You're laughing.
Yeah.
You're laughing. Let's talk about this. So cool to see you in Berlin. I don't travel right now.
First of all, you don't eat doner in Berlin. You eat what's the name? Currywurst. Cannot go to Berlin not to eat currywurst.
What is that?
It's a sausage with curry sauce.
Oh, okay.
You know, Indian curry.
Meat.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Drop by Switzerland. We'll have some drinks.
Find me a conference, something, and I'm coming.
Switzerland. All right. No, I am not planning on going to KubeCon in A because that would have to come out of my pocket, and it's not worth it to me to do that. I don't think. I say that right now, but my general answer is no. I would like to, but no. Okay. So anyway, your strategy in going to conferences is not to go to the conference. And
Not to go to many talks, yes. But it's opportunity to meet kind of...
to meet people, right?
Yeah, I mean, if I remember correctly, you were doing the same. You were buzzing around when we were in Lisbon.
Yeah, but I was there for work.
Yeah, but I'm always for work one way or another. I don't know.
Yeah. But see, you've gone to a lot more than I have. So the only time I've been to conferences is when I'm like primary vendor type stuff. I haven't been to a conference to go to a conference probably since 2000, maybe 1999. It's been a few years. Anyway, KubeCon EU. Victor's ready to go to Detroit for NA.
Yeah.
Be October. It should be pleasant, not miserable. So
I'm not walking in October.
You're not
Gonna be
walking
cold.
in October?
It's going to be freezing, right?
No, it's not going to be freezing. Here. Let's try
I
this.
believe you. Yeah, for you it's not going to be freezing. I know.
Detroit in October. Okay, there's some clubs there. I don't know when it's going to be there. Does it snow in Detroit in October? Let's see. October is the first month that typically snows in Detroit.
Touche.
Point two. Okay, weather here.
I
Detroit.
get depressed only when there is a rumor that it might snow.
Okay, here we go. Here's your averages. The high is going to be 60 and the low is going to be 45. That's going to be basically, what is that in Celsius? Because I can't do the math in my head. Okay, here we go. It still doesn't help me any. It's going to be basically 14 down to about 5, I think.
Forget it. I'm not walking. I'm not walking. I hope that hotel has everything I need.
See, that's beautiful weather. Until it gets, once it gets below 0 for me, 0 Celsius, that's when it starts getting bad. And I'm usually okay down to about -5. Once I get below -5, then that's when I don't want to leave the building. But I'm used to that. Okay. So anyway, that was this week's podcast. Podcasts come out at 6 a.m. Eastern every week. Let's see. Let's go to this. I saw this article inside of SiliconANGLE. I could not find the reference on the VMware site. But VMware announced that they've added cross-cloud management to core virtualization platforms, meaning, in my head, ESX. So they introduced extensions to the vSphere virtualization platform. Okay, whatever. That seems logical. But then, and the vSAN storage virtualization software. That second half to me is what's more interesting. Because the ESX control plane to me is nothing more than kubeAPI, as a very rough analogy. But if they're really starting to get into storage across vendors, that's pretty cool.
But is that on-prem, right? Yeah.
No. Well, obviously, it's self-managed, yes.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be
self-managed,
on-prem.
Exactly. Yeah, it's self-managed. Yeah, cool, nice.
So vSphere Plus and vSAN Plus are multi-cloud platforms that provide unified management via the VMware Cloud Console, a control plane for managing the entire suite of VMware cloud services across hybrid and native public clouds.
Okay.
This is the thing to watch, I think. Because now, if people are used to working inside of vSphere, and now they can quickly not worry about, is it AWS, is it GCP, is it Azure? It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I mean, that is indeed the problem, but that's, from my perspective, that's less of a problem. The real problem is if you're moving something to public cloud from self-managed on-prem, you're not going to move everything at once. It's going to take years and probably never be fully completed. So kind of like, how do all those work together? Kind of like, what do you do with application all of a sudden running in AWS and having storage in your data center, right?
I think that line is going to get blurred even more over the next year or two. I don't think it's going to matter.
Kind of, I think that this is where both on-prem, mainly on-prem vendors and cloud vendors are converging. Both are realizing that neither is going to disappear. So they're all building bridges, kind of like, how can Google transition people without a lot of suffering from on-prem to partly Google? And VMware also, on the other hand, how can we be recognizing people are going to go to Google? And I'm using Google as an example here. How can we bridge that gap so that they don't leave completely?
So we're talking about this, and I'm actually going to pull up the other thing we were talking about for a moment. What is cloud repatriation? This post came out from our friends at phoenixnap this week. And this goes into what you were just talking about. What happens when people were on-prem, they went to the cloud, and now they're coming back on-prem for whatever reason.
Yeah. Do you know, I think that there are two, generally speaking, there are two types of companies or teams going from cloud back to on-prem. One would be the group of people who realize that cloud does not work for them, very often because they try to replicate what they have on-prem in cloud, and that did not work. That's a mistake of how something was done rather than whether cloud is good or not. And there are companies who are in cloud sufficiently, they really know it, they leverage it, they actually have a great success in cloud. And now they're saying, now I know what I need to do on-prem. That's the interesting group for me.
Right, and that's really what this is talking about. They talk about recent studies, which were not referenced here, show that over 80% of companies in the US pulled some public cloud workloads in 2021. But here are the most common reasons, so we can look at whatever, right? Some pulled workloads were never supposed to live there permanently. Okay, fair enough. So here are the most common reasons. Adopting a hybrid cloud solution, going back to what we just saw with vSphere Plus. Limiting shadow IT, locking down the cloud. Boosting data security along with regulatory obligations. Rearranging an app to improve performance. Maybe you had to throw it out on, you couldn't rack and stack any more bigger machines. So you needed to get it out to run. The app got re-architected, and now all of a sudden you can run everything on Raspberry Pis. Okay. Bad example. Trying to lower IT cost that spiraled out of control as cloud environment grew. Mm-hmm. That's the big thing. I'm going to throw you under the bus for a moment. When it's as simple for me to add in a few lines of YAML to something, and all of a sudden I'm spending a lot more money, or maybe misspending money, that's a bad idea.
Absolutely. But I will call, I cannot use the word.
BS. You're going to call BS.
BS. I'm going to call
That's
BS fine. On most of those things.
Okay. Agreed. But if you're somebody newish trying to add something to the config and you meant to just do an extra large, but you fat fingered it and did a 8XL, right? Unless you have guardrails around what is allowed and what is not allowed, of course, within
Exactly.
the solution, it can be covered. The problem is if it's not covered.
I think that's going back to what I said before. The problem is going to cloud and not doing what needs to be done, and not doing what you already have. Because, hey, I can just order beefed up machines, 1,000 servers that I don't need when I'm on-prem as well, and they will arrive eventually. That never happens because companies put some caps on what a team can do, right? So, and you can do that in cloud as well. Same like limiting shadow IT. Come on, there is nobody, almost nobody in the world who says, I'm going to ignore this extremely easy way to do stuff and do it on my own shadow IT. Nobody says that if the alternative not to do shadow IT is actually easy. People say, hey, this is horrible, what I need to do. It's so much easier and more efficient for me to do it on my own. But that's a failure of a company. That's not the reason to go back to on-prem and make everybody miserable with your processes, right? Yeah. Sorry, I'm bitter now.
That's fine.
Apologies.
I pushed you today. I normally don't do that. But here, this sentence is key. Ideally, cloud repatriation should not be about readopting the same on-prem system that you used before cloud migration.
Yes. Big yes. Exactly.
Right. This is the rearranging an app to improve performance. Right? Maybe you decided that, hey, we want to try out this Kubernetes thing. We'll go manage service for a while. Hey, we tried help me, Google Cloud Run.
Yeah.
I found out that it's Knative, air quotes. Okay, we feel comfortable enough with Kubernetes now. We don't need a huge one. We're already used to running things in a certain way. We can install Knative on that and get the value inside and completely lock down our cost down to basically labor because of existing hardware.
Exactly. But that's why I think that successful companies who successfully moved from cloud back to managing all data centers will be companies who do not experience most of those bullet points. Quite the opposite. Companies who are extremely successful in cloud, they nailed it down and say, now I know what I should have had before I moved to cloud.
So then,
no need for shadow IT. I already enabled everybody to get what they want in public cloud. There is no shadow IT because nobody has a reason to do that. And now I'm going to replicate the same thing in on-prem. Excellent.
you bring the metaphors that you built in cloud, if they were successful, that's the big if, back to on-prem. And now it's just a matter of letting that be your brownfield and legacy. And then when you're ready to do the next hot thing, guess where you're going to do that? Back out to cloud.
But here's the problem. There is an extremely small percentage of the industry who can do that. Kind of who can create AWS themselves or Google Cloud or whatever. That's where the problem lies. Everybody thinks that that can be done. Very few can do it. Because that's not a simple thing to do. It's not kind of, I can sit for a couple of hours and I will reproduce everything that AWS did with thousands of people over many years.
Yeah, the next paragraph here. Most negative cloud repatriation scenarios occur when a company rushes into cloud adoption. They didn't take a step and breathe. Lack of initial planning, that makes sense. Poor KPIs, whatever. lift and shift migration plans often force the team to pull an app back from the cloud. See, there, I told you, cloud was no good for us.
Exactly.
Yes, because you were an idiot in planning for it. Did I say the I word? I did.
You did. Oh man, we need to remember this date.
Only because I've been that idiot before. So
It's very easy to think that something is very easy.
this is always the funny thing. I was having this conversation with my wife. When managers think something's going to be easy, realistically, it's going to be really hard. And when managers think something's going to be really hard, there's a chance, albeit small, that it may be easy. So,
But man, look at those benefits over there in the
I know.
picture. Kind of
Right
no
here?
vendor locking. Come on. Every on-prem company I know is locked
Has vendor
into a
lock-in.
vendor. Huh?
yeah, they're locked into VMware, right?
Exactly.
They're locked into vSphere, or they're locked into IBM, or they're locked
Yeah,
into
exactly.
something. So
Yeah.
that one I disagree with. So all of our friends at phoenixnap, I get it. So what they mean here by vendor is a single vendor. But realistically, in a data center, most people are locked to a vendor. They might have
Exactly.
actually multiples to make it even worse. Right? Based on legacy stuff, you may have multiple vendors still. So that the no vendor lock-in, I think, is a bogus item that should not show up anywhere ever.
Especially for infra. Because
Yes, especially for infra.
kind of like you're not building those machines and software that runs those machines. Come on. Kind of like how many companies built equivalent of VMware? Come on.
Yeah.
And most of the other things. I mean, all those things are relative. And I do agree that, yes, you can be more secure on-prem, but you can be more secure in cloud as well. That depends on so many factors. It's not like kind of, you go on-prem, you're more secure. Heck no. Absolutely not. Kind of like just going on-prem. That's just silly. Kind of. And better cost predictability, neither. I mean, better cost predictability, of course, you can predict. You just buy 3 times more servers than you need, and you know exactly, you can easily predict how much it will cost.
Sort of. Because what about power? What happens when a brownout comes in and knocks your data center off and you're out of fuel?
Yeah. And also when Oracle comes next year to renegotiate your deal. Yeah.
I get what they're saying here, right? At a high level, I agree with these points. But when you get, just like anything else, once you get into the details, it becomes a lot more blurry.
The thing is really boils down to expertise. Kind of, if Netflix, I'm not sure whether Netflix is today in cloud or on their own data centers. I know that they was back and forth. But anyways, they know how to do those things.
Correct.
A majority of us don't. As easy as that.
Correct. So anyway, obviously we've spent a lot of time, and they even break each one of these things down, right? So we're not going to go through all these. I thought this was a really great article that if you're in the early stages or mid stages of going to cloud, I would say read this anyway, because this will probably show you where you might be screwing up today. And maybe if you implement the things correctly, it might buy you a little more time in cloud to prepare you for that coming repatriation.
Yeah.
Because what you don't want to have done is do a lift and shift from on-prem to cloud, wait a couple of years, and now all of a sudden you've had new leadership change, new execs come in, and it's like, hey, we're going to get out of the cloud and we're coming back to data centers. And now you're going to try to do a lift and shift from cloud back to a data center? Especially if your apps were taking advantage of managed services from that vendor? Not going to happen. That breaks the definition of lift and shift. Unless, of course, all you've done is the only thing you did is change from running a WAR file on the metal to running in a container image, and now you can bring the container image back and just run it on a container runtime. Anyway, I thought this was a great, and it's super long, but usually when they write articles at phoenixnap of this detail, they're usually really good. I highly recommend it. Links for everything today will be in the show notes probably by morning for me. So, cloud repatriation. You want to talk about something a little lighter? Remote development is Slack, also known as we built our own Git pod.
Okay. It's Slack. Okay, I thought it kind of
This
like do remote development from Slack applications. That's
No.
Slack,
This is
company.
Slack.
Okay.
Yes. In this article, remote development environments refer to AWS EC2 instances where engineers make code changes and can see a running Slack application within those changes. I did this back in the late 90s. I had my own Unix VM. I SSH'd into it, and that's where I did all my work.
Yeah. I think like one of the things that changed. I think that personal compute is much more accessible here now in quantity, right? I remember like 15 years ago, something like that, 10, 15, 20, I never had enough on my machine. It was never enough. Whatever I'm doing, I need more. Now I have a feeling that everybody has plenty on their local machines. That does not justify rejection of remote dev environments. I think that that's a great idea. But it's a bit less complicated, or there is slightly less need maybe than 20 years ago, which sounds strange.
Is this the same argument that we were just having? We're now repatriating our development environments back to our local machines?
I mean, they were never really kind of like in VMs, kind of from developer perspective. It was more kind of you do something on your laptop and or computer desktop, before laptops. And then you do something else on a VM, but both were painful. So you're mostly trying to figure out what will hurt less that day. So it's slightly different, I think. But I still stand behind my my statement that remote dev environments are going to be a huge thing.
Okay. So anyway, they take it all the way down to where they start. Slack's backend is written in Hack. What in the heck is Hack? Hack is a lang. Did you know? Have you ever heard of Hacklang?
Never wrote anything in Hack, but I know about it, yeah.
Okay. So that is Hack. Didn't know it. Which one's HTTM? There's no mandated single development environment. That's nice. But the majority of people use VS Code, or at least web app engineers use VS Code. And it takes you through the whole thing. Here's what it looks like. Mac OS, development instance, life goes on. So anyway,
Nice.
if you want to learn how to do remote development the Slack way, here's how it's done. I saw this. AWS Anywhere now has bare metal support. Cops anyone?
I'm actually waiting for for an environment that was promised to me where I can try out EKSA.
Should I ask more questions, or are we just going to let that sit?
I'm just gonna let that sit. Yeah, no, I'm
Okay.
waiting for an environment, so I'm going to actually use EKS Anywhere, but it's not really made to be used in cloud. Doesn't make sense. So I'm waiting for hardware for that.
Got it. Well, now you can, because now it supports bare metal.
Yeah, but I need bare metal. That's what I need, man. I have no problem getting EKS Anywhere. I have a problem getting bare metal. That's what I'm waiting for.
I'm just curious to see here. Let's look at the documentation site, because I want to see how it's supposed to be installed. Blah, 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 blah. Get started. That's what I want. Install it. Use the installation guide. Okay, how many more clicks do I have to take? Okay, here's what you need on the administrative machine. You need Docker.
No comment.
You need either Mac, specifically 15. What is that one? Mojave? Or Ubuntu 20. You need 4 cores, 16 gig of RAM.
But that's probably from where you boot, actually, the process, right?
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is really tying back to Docker, and this is where they've really tested.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, so anyway, must be on the same network as the cluster machines. Okay, here we go. EKS brew install EKS Anywhere. We've seen that before. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, here we go. Deploy a cluster. Let's do a local cluster.
Yeah, it works with Kind and a few others.
Okay, so that's that. So let's talk a production cluster because that's what we really care about, right? Bare metal. Here we go. So there's the vSphere, which is what they've had. Set your cluster name. It's just EKS Cuddle. The provider is Tinkerbell. Okay. Interesting.
I mean, I'm not experienced with Tinkerbell, but I understood it actually. That makes sense.
Well, when I hear Tinkerbell, I think Disney. So I thought it was just a code name. Is it a real thing?
It's a real thing, yeah.
Oh, okay. Then it goes off and does the thing.
But so here's a question.
Okay.
If you're talking about Kubernetes now only, while understanding that you have other stuff in on-prem, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why would you bother with VMs on-prem? I know in cloud, because VMs in cloud enable cloud providers to give you the size you need when you need it. But if you're running on-prem clusters, why not just skip vSphere? What's the benefit of having it?
So it depends on the size of the hosts.
Yeah, but I'm assuming that if your clusters are at least a couple of physical server sizes, at least.
Mm-hmm. Well, for like what I call the highly functioning vSphere people, they usually start at anywhere from a terabyte up of memory and multiple terabytes of disk. So it doesn't make sense to run those bare. But if I had 8 or 10 of them and I was going to build a Kubernetes cluster, then I would build a Kubernetes cluster if that's going to be my platform, as much as I dislike that word.
Because, what makes perfect sense is that if I'm on-prem and I say, hey, I need a machine that is 4 gigs RAM, you give me a virtual machine, makes perfect sense. But
Yep.
I'm not doing that with Kubernetes. I'm saying, give me a namespace.
Yep.
Or something like this. So,
but you're assuming that you're willing to burn all that hardware just for Kubernetes.
yeah, I'm talking about Kubernetes use case, ignoring your mainframes
Anything
and
else.
VMs.
Right.
And I'm ignoring everything else. Why would I bother with vSphere?
Again, it goes back to what have you already spent the money on and what is available.
Yeah.
If you're going to be buying new and you sort of know where you're going to go, then I would stay bare metal. I always try to stay bare metal when I have a choice.
I mean, if somebody needs a VM, server-specific size, then, somebody needs to run a prompt application that occupies 1 gig of memory. I'm not going to give him a 50 gig server for that. I need to be able to slice and dice my servers. But Kubernetes is doing that for you.
But that's just assuming that people are actually developing containers.
Yeah, I'm again.
I keep hammering that home.
Use case of Kubernetes, yeah. Anyways, this is a good thing. Bare metal production cluster, I like it.
And from AWS, right?
Yeah.
This is now in the. So we have Rancher. We have Tanzu. We have this. Do we have anybody else?
I mean, it's really actually only vSphere. Because
What do you mean?
that's the, increased number of use cases is hybrid. I'm not going fully cloud. I'm going to have something on-prem, something in cloud. Solutions like AWS Anywhere and similar. I'm ignoring now how good they are or not conceptually. Make that perfect sense. That bridge, right? Unless you're already having vSphere. vSphere controls on-prem, right? Basically, everybody is at the mercy of vSphere. vSphere controls data centers. They are much more powerful. VMware is much more powerful than Rancher or anybody else can ever be. Simply because of the level of control. Even if you take Rancher today, below the Rancher will be controlled indirectly by vSphere, right?
Yeah. In shops like that, the answer is yes. But, okay, anyway. A couple of tools, sort of in the same vein. I found this week. It's called Hoppr.
Hopping, assets between environments. Okay.
Yeah. It is from our friends at Lockheed Martin. Do you know who Lockheed Martin is?
No. Who is it?
They manufacture jets, primarily fighter jets.
Okay.
So-
then yeah, I didn't buy any for a while now. That's
No.
probably why I don't know them. Yeah.
So anyway, this is sort of weird. We know this is from Lockheed Martin, and we see a little hippo here, and we see some balloons. Yet this is from a very strong defense contractor.
Okay.
So with that in mind, what is Hoppr? Hoppr enables your applications and build dependencies to hop between air-gapped or isolated environments. This is for air-gapped solutions. My day job deals with air-gap a lot. Your day job, I could see having to deal with air-gap. I don't know if you are or not.
Not probably as much, but yes.
Not as much. Yeah. So if you need to get things across that firewall, across whatever that barrier is, I'm going to trust somebody like Lockheed Martin to help come up with that solution, because they've gone through this pain for decades.
Yeah.
And they understand what it is. And here's the deal. Transfers are defined via SBOMs.
Nice.
So why not use the right standards for the right time? It is 2022. You can have standardized workflows, extensible with plugins, core plugins for common operations, licensed under MIT, which makes me very happy. But what was funny is I had to go all the way through. I was like, man, who is this? Who is this? I finally get to the bottom. It says Lockheed Martin Corporation. I went, okay. And not only that, they have a cool hippo, superhero hippo. I think it's funny. But
Yeah.
I like how they're strategizing on this. Using SBOM, specifically using Cyclone DX. I think this is one to watch.
And you know it's serious if they actually made a separate icon for every single
Yeah,
section.
every point, yeah. You're sort of joking, but they've put some thought into this. I've sent this around, and some people are taking a look at it now, and it's just, the only thing I'm sad is that it's written in Python.
And distributed in Python. I don't care what's written in.
Oh, that's true. Well, here, let's take a look, because I'm curious, because I haven't gone over to take a look at it yet. It is on GitLab. I knew that.
It's been years since last time I saw an open source project in GitLab. Well done.
And it looks to be, yes, it is still Python.
Yeah.
Sadly. Yeah, that's okay.
No, what I'm trying to say is that if you give me brew install and I have CLI for something, I don't care what is written in.
Right. Okay, so that's Hoppr. Ratchet.
Is it R?
R. Yeah, that's R. And it's not Atchet. It's Ratchet.
Small R. Okay, maybe. Yeah.
Ratchet.
Cool.
Okay. A tool for improving the security of CI/CD workflows by automating the process of pinning and unpinning upstream versions. We've talked about this a lot. It only works with Circle CI, GitHub Actions, Google Cloud Build. So here's where it's at. You're probably doing something like this or doing something like this when you should be doing this or this.
Correct. But it's very annoying to do it like that.
Like that.
So you're not doing it.
Right. So now what you just say is you say Ratchet pin, and it goes off and does it for you.
Oh, okay, it goes through YAML or whatever the format is and just kind of like puts the SHAs of every tag.
Correct.
Nice.
And you can unpin, just like you can pin. Now, I don't know what happens when you unpin. And then you can update all, whether you want to or not, different conversation, but hey, you're doing it inside of a SCM, so review it before you punch it. You can check it to see if it's all pinned. And if I remember correctly, oh no, this one's Go. I thought this one was there. So three contributors working on it. I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah,
That is called Ratchet.
Good.
Ratchet. And last one tool from today is Steampipe. I didn't look to see if we'd talked about this before, but even if we had, I wanted to bring it up again. So it's SQL for you fill in the blank. So let's watch this little interactive thing here. So I can select name number of members from Slack. Conversations where number of members is greater than 50. And it gives me the channels.
That's amazingly cool.
Instance ID, instance types, instance states from AWS EC2 instances. And I get the list of my instances.
It's very, very cool. I love
And
it.
it just keeps going on. Here's stuff for GitHub. So there's over 200 data sources out of the box. No database required.
It's really cool.
Yep,
I love
this is
this.
called Steampipe. Query like it's 1992.
Of all the stuff today, this is my favorite.
Well, there's only 3 things today, so this is
I don't know. There are more than 3 tabs. Well, more than 3, man.
no, but tooling wise, there's only yes.
Okay. I mean, AWS Anywhere is
But
tool as well.
check this out. I can select from AWS and do a join that gets my AWS name and Slack. I'm joining across AWS and Slack.
Nice.
The cloud is a live database. I can query who is. This is
no
just
learning curve. Kind of everybody knows SQL.
yeah. Which users have MFA enabled? Here we go. Bango. This is just, you can install plugins from within the app, browse available tables, explore some meta. Are you installing it right now? Is that what you're doing?
Not yet, but I'm about to.
All right. So anyway, let's take a look at this because I haven't looked at the, yeah, it's all Go, which I should have known. A lot of contributors. I don't know how this stayed under our radar for so long, but it's been out there for quite a while. It's a GPL, so
Okay.
take that with a whatever you want to take it with. But this is super cool.
Really, really cool.
And
We
then
kind of like the number of 200. That's work, man. Because those are all different APIs, different
Yep.
cities.
169 releases. It's cool. Your video for this week was External Secrets Operator. Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Why? Because I did it in while waiting for the thing that I'm missing, and I'm missing a tool that will be able to push secrets somewhere, not only pull. Very important for me. And External Secrets is about to do that. And if it does, it will become my tool of choice. Because I need to be able to push secrets, not only pull them. Are you confused now?
A little. Make it a little more concrete for me. Give
So
me,
most
for
tools
example.
are focused on, okay, so how do we bring secrets into Kubernetes cluster? And different approaches, many different approaches, right? But the thing is that I do not. I need to have secrets in my clusters one way or another, but I also need to be able to propagate secrets that I create in clusters to other clusters. So I need to be able to push them into secret storage, not only pool. Right. So let's say that I create a cluster. I'm using Crossplane, right? I create a cluster from a management cluster, and then some other cluster should connect to that cluster. I need to be able to move that secret from one place to another. And if I use Vault or Google Secrets Manager or whatever, that means that before I pull it, I need to be able to push it.
Push it.
And nobody does that.
So if they do this, does it seem like it's hard to do?
You know, it's always the problem when you have many different endpoints. They're all having different APIs, so you need essentially to develop how that is done separately for Vault and for Google Storage and for Azure this and AWS that. So that's always painful.
So if this makes it happen, interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that nobody else is doing it. Nobody at the time using.
So once that goes, do you expect other people to get into that, like other implementations of it?
I mean, I need it. I don't know how many other people need it.
No, I'm talking about will other vendors get into that? Will they come up with their own specific implementation for it?
So in the future, yes, because I think that as we are extending the usage of Kubernetes itself, more and more of the resources will be not consuming only secrets, but generating secrets. And then kind of like if you generate secrets randomly in Kubernetes cluster, and then the whole idea of pulling secrets because it's safer from somewhere kind of like becomes irrelevant, right? Because you are securing only part of the stuff. So the more Kubernetes extends its reach, the more it will be generating secrets, and the more it generates secrets, the more the need to push to the storage as well.
So have you already got your video done for next week? I haven't looked yet.
I did.
Oh.
I did.
That's good.
I forgot what it's about, but I did.
Well,
It's a tool nobody knows.
Oh, okay.
KPT. I think that almost nobody knows what it is. So.
Have we talked about it before?
I don't think so.
Huh. Sounds
We
familiar.
talked when we talked with Lockheed. We talked about KCP.
Okay. Maybe I'm getting confused.
2/3 of the letters are the same.
You always get in trouble when you have 3-letter acronyms. What is the... Well, anyway. Are you traveling next week or are you home?
I'm home. I mean, home in the undisclosed location. Home, yes.
Yes. You're not
Yes.
getting on an airplane to go somewhere next week.
2 weeks not going anywhere,
That sounds good.
or week and a half, something like
And that actually brings up an interesting point. So I think, look at your calendar right now because I can't look down. When is the Friday that we are not doing this? It's not the
don't know.
it's not the 21st
that.
first or 20th, whatever it is. Is it the week before the 13th?
I think that I don't see. I'm free all the.
I thought
Fridays,
you'd canceled a Friday in 2 weeks.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because you canceled both a Thursday
Maybe
and a
by
Friday.
Accident. My accident, maybe.
I thought you had 1 week that you're completely out.
Yeah, I'm going to Disneyland, but I'll be back on Friday.
Going to Disneyland?
Yes.
Wait, where? Paris?
Paris.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you had canceled it.
I'll check it. I
Okay.
don't know where the flights are.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, there is a chance that we may not be doing this show in a couple of weeks. Next week we should definitely be here, but I think it's the week after. And you'll probably just be on a Disney high after that point, so you may not be able to function.
It's a closed environment where kids can roam free and let me be with margaritas in my hand. It's fantastic.
In Disney, you can have margaritas.
We're staying in a hotel in
Oh.
Disney.
Oh, okay.
So the plan is kind of like, you cannot escape. Go, children, go.
That's how it works over there? That's not how it works here.
No, 12-year-old, you can let them.
Oh, 12. That's true. She's
Yeah.
when I hear kid, I think below 10. But yeah, 12's fine.
When I hear kid, me is still living with me.
Yeah. And it only gets worse as they get older. So let me catch up on these. Okay, I won't bring that up because I don't want to. See, is there anything else that I want to call out here?
I think that we have a lot of comments that we will not have time to go through.
Yeah, we need to, because you've got somewhere to be at the top of the hour, and I do too. So let's do this. We'll be back next week. Monday, video from Victor. Wednesday, the podcast. We'll be back next Friday. We don't have anything next Thursday
No.
because we had to cancel yesterday. So yeah, nothing on Thursday.
Yep.
So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, again next week. Everybody have a great weekend. We're going to bail so we can go pay the bills. So let's all go do that. Or just go and have a great weekend. Bye, everybody.